One of my favorite aspects of this video is the conversations it sparks with other single millennials. We frequently discuss what we want from relationships and how we're working to create our ideal love lives. We explore how and where to meet potential partners, critique the superficiality of Tinder as we swipe left on those who don't meet our physical standards, and share our worries about love and our readiness for it. The fear surrounding marriage is very real, and I often feel it myself. I believe this fear is the main barrier to marriage. Meanwhile, the news pressures us. Parents urge us for grandbabies, and peers insist we just get out there as if finding love in the 21st century is as simple as picking up coconut water at the store. Their well-meaning encouragement often fails to ease our valid fears. At times, it even intensifies them. So where do these fears originate? I believe they largely stem from one source: a lack of preparation. Number 1, we are unprepared for realistic expectations. We are the first generation raised on a steady diet of Disney princesses and reality TV, filled with extreme and unrealistic portrayals of love. On one side, we have glamorized fairy tales of Prince Charming swooping in to save the day. On the other, we're inundated with stories of infidelity, divorce, and abuse from figures like Kim Kardashian and Tiger Woods, making these toxic relationships seem like the norm. This leads to a generation of strong, independent women who secretly yearn for a man to rescue them while outwardly insisting they don't need one. They've learned to rely solely on themselves, yet have been shown for decades that men are both the answer and the problem. Conversely, many men feel pressured to be the perfect Prince Charming, carrying the shame of their hidden flaws. They want to save the damsel, but she asserts she can handle everything on her own. When the idea of saving the damsel becomes unrealistic, men seek fulfillment through sports, video games, gambling, or pornography, often labeled as immature or needing to man up. Despite this, most singles still desire marriage. The first step toward achieving the fulfilling relationships we crave is to release the sensationalized expectations we have about love, both positive and negative. Love is rarely as perfect as a Disney movie or as disastrous as a celebrity scandal. It typically falls somewhere in between. Number 2, we aren't prepared for hard conversations. At the start, relationships are filled with excitement, influenced by pleasure chemicals and the absence of your partner's flaws. However, limerence eventually fades, leading to inevitable conflicts or disagreements. You might have a bad day or unintentionally hurt your partner's feelings. Their ex may reappear, or their parents could voice concerns about you, resulting in arguments. This brings up common questions. Is this really as good as it gets? Am I with the right person? Why are we fighting? If it were right, we wouldn't be arguing. Most of us aren't prepared for the normal conflicts that arise. Whether we've witnessed our parents fight and vowed not to emulate that, or grew up without seeing any conflict, leading to the misconception that love and disagreement can't coexist. This uncertainty about conflict can provoke fears about our relationships' futures. A reassuring finding from the Gottman Institute is that 69% of conflict in romantic relationships is unresolvable. This realization made me understand that conflict is a normal part of relationships. Not only is conflict unavoidable, but addressing it can also foster positive experiences when approached with the right tools and principles. For valuable skills on handling conflict in your relationships, consider reading The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. Number 3. We haven't been prepared to make big choices. Dating today is vastly different from 20 years ago. Before the late 90s, singles weren't burdened by the paradox of choice. The idea that too many options can leave us feeling paralyzed and dissatisfied rather than liberated and happy. Social media and online dating have opened the door to thousands of potential partners at our fingertips. This abundance of choice creates a perfect storm of what-if scenarios, making it nearly impossible to select just one person. Once you find someone who meets your expectations, the nagging question arises: what if there's someone more attractive, wealthier, funnier, or kinder out there? As Barry Schwartz, author of The Paradox of Choice, states, learning to choose is hard. Learning to choose well is harder. And learning to choose well in a world of unlimited possibilities is perhaps too hard. People often ask, how do I know he or she is the right one? The best response is, what makes someone right? I believe that someone is right for you not because they are the most attractive, wealthy, or compatible person, but simply because you choose them. The harsh reality is that there will always be someone who may seem better suited for you in some way, and attraction to others can persist even after marriage. What distinguishes the right person is your commitment to choose them day after day through good times and bad until the end. Schwartz argues that making a choice and sticking to it can be psychologically easier if we embrace the leap. Keeping our options open seems to extract a psychological price. When we can change our minds, we do less psychological work to justify our decision, reinforcing the chosen alternative and disparaging the rejected ones. If you're grappling with the paradox of choice, going on many first dates but few second ones, or spending excessive time on dating apps, a great resource is Barry Schwartz's book, The Paradox of Choice, or his accompanying TED Talk. Number 4, we haven't prepared ourselves by addressing our baggage. Everyone enters a relationship with distinct expectations, experiences, fears, habits, attitudes, personal narratives, desires, and even vocabularies that differ from their partners. These distinctions make up your baggage, which you are responsible for managing. If you struggle with issues such as abandonment fears, trust difficulties, low self-worth, temper issues, addiction, mental health challenges, financial irresponsibility, negativity, or a superiority complex, it's crucial to address these now rather than waiting until you're in a committed relationship. Making your partner responsible for your baggage is selfish and not an act of love. Having baggage doesn't disqualify you from love. We all have issues to confront. However, your baggage remains your responsibility. If you were raised with the notion that you could achieve anything, remember that this can foster entitlement and diminish personal accountability. For guidance in identifying and managing your baggage, consider reading The New Rules of Marriage by Terry Real. This book has the potential to transform your perspective. We are unprepared due to a lack of mentors and community. I believe we learn to love as we learn to speak, through the examples, culture, and role models around us. Millennials were raised by baby boomers, the generation with the highest divorce rates, combined with unrealistic expectations from Disney movies and Hollywood romances. It's no wonder we feel lost. At bachelor parties, married men often advise single friends to enjoy life before marriage, suggesting that fun, intimacy, and spontaneity will fade. Meanwhile, at bachelorette parties, married women voice frustrations about emotionally unavailable husbands who prefer work or pornography over meaningful time at home. This negativity is disheartening and infuriating. I know there's another way. Fulfilling, passionate marriages exist. There are emotionally intelligent husbands eager to return to their loving wives, and kind wives who appreciate and cherish their husbands. I've seen couples married for decades who are still deeply connected and engaged. My generation will only overcome its fear of marriage when those in extraordinary relationships advocate for it more loudly than those who criticize it. We need voices celebrating the joy of marriage. I dream of a community where commitment is celebrated and enjoyed. I long for married men to share with single friends how wonderful their wives are, and for married women to express genuine appreciation for their loyal husbands. The best remedy for fear is preparation. Real love is possible and realistic, but you must prepare yourself and develop the necessary skills to create it. Amazing love isn't random. It comes to those committed to the effort and practice required to achieve it. If you're prepared, you will not fear.